Hello students, welcome to my class. So in this video, I will be starting with Unit 3 of Organic Chemistry paper, that is retrosynthesis or disconnection approach. So far in organic chemistry, you might have studied that you are synthesizing a product and you will have 2 or 3 reactants. Maximum will be 2 or 3, 4 reactants also. So what you're doing, you're taking the reactants and then you're making the product. But in retrosynthesis, what you're studying is you are given the product and you are supposed to make or disconnect it and reach the reactants. That is, you are supposed to write what type of reactant it has reacted, and then you have got this type of product. So you're coming from the product to the reactant, that is, you're coming backwards in the reaction. So first of all, what is retrosynthesis or disconnection approach? It is a logical approach for designing organic synthesis. It involves the breaking of organic molecule or target molecule into available starting materials. That is, which is their target molecule? Suppose there is a molecule given to you, that itself is the product. So that is your target molecule, that we call it as a target molecule here. Okay, so what you're supposed to do to that product, you are supposed to disconnect it or break it at various sites so that you can break it completely and you can finally arrive to the reactant, because reactants, they combine and form that product, correct? So in order to get to its reactants, what you do is that you break the product at different various sites by breaking the bonds that is given in the next line, that is by imaginary breaking of bonds or by functional group interconversion. Okay, that is called as disconnection approach. That is, you're disconnecting this target molecule to get your main reactant molecules that have actually reacted to give this type of product. So here see, they have given, if Z is a target material, usually how would we write? We would write X plus Y and arrow mark gives you Z, that is a product. Okay, here in retrosynthesis, you are writing it in the reverse order. That is, Z is already given to you, target material. What are you supposed to find? X and Y, that are the two reactants that are needed to make Z. So this is called as retrosynthesis, and the arrow here you can see, this arrow is called as a retrosynthesis arrow. Okay, so X and Y here are the starting material, and the reverse reaction you will be writing how the reverse reaction would be, and you will be writing which reactants might have reacted to form this Z. So that reverse reaction that you're writing, it should be real and workable. That is, if a person tries to carry out that reaction, it has to work, it has to give Z. Okay, now if you are given Z and you're telling the two, any X and Y will give you Z, that's how you write the reaction. So if you're doing this reaction, it has to work, it has to give Z. So you have to disconnect it, the product, in such a manner that the reverse reaction is actually feasible. Okay, so moving on, so let us understand some important terms in this topic. One is syntons. What are syntons? These are fragments or intermediates, usually cations or anions obtained by disconnection. Okay. Next is target molecule. You already know what is a target molecule. This is a molecule to be synthesized is called as a target molecule. That is a product that is given to you, which you are supposed to, from which you are supposed to tell what and all reactants are there in that particular target molecule. So that is a target molecule. Then there is a retrosynthetic arrow, which I already showed you. It's a double headed arrow indicating the reverse of synthetic reaction. And synthetic equivalents, these are actual molecules which are precursors of the target molecule. Let's take an example and understand these definitions. See, now like this, you will be given one. What is this molecule, students? This is a target molecule. This is nothing but the target molecule. What does target molecule definition say? A molecule to be synthesized is called as a target molecule. So now this is supposed to be synthesized. Now you are supposed to guess how, what and all reactants, not guess, you are actually supposed to disconnect it and write what and all reactants are required to synthesize this particular molecule. So this molecule will be your target molecule. And what is this arrow, students? Whenever here you write this arrow, this is called as a retrosynthetic arrow. A normal arrow will be just one dash and an arrowhead, correct? But here you put this double dash and head, because that tells that we are doing the retrosynthesis, that is we are disconnecting that particular molecule. Okay. And what is the next thing? What did you study about the synthons? These are fragments or intermediates. They are usually cations or anions obtained by disconnection. Now students, see here, you will be given a target molecule. What will be your first step is to disconnect it and write. Now see, you can disconnect it at different sides. Any bond you can, disconnecting is what? Breaking one of the bonds and opening up this main product into two or three molecules, like that. Okay, that is nothing but disconnecting. Now you can disconnect it anywhere at any bond, but already you studied that in the first this one they are mentioning that the reverse reaction should be real and workable. That means that you have to disconnect at such sites that can be, you can come back to this product. When you're coming backwards, that should be real and workable. So you have to disconnect very wisely, thinking where and all it is possible to disconnect. So now see, in this particular target molecule, the best place to disconnect is this bond here between carbon and nitrogen. I've disconnected. So whenever you're disconnecting, you can just put a line here like that, meaning to say that you're disconnecting at that particular site or that particular bond. Okay. Now I will write it like this. So nitrogen being electronegative, that will have the minus charge, and here the carbon will have the plus charge. These two, the cation and anion that you've called, got, these two are called as a syntons. Now do you understand the definition? These are fragments or intermediates, usually cations or anions, obtained by disconnection. So now I disconnected this target molecule at this particular site, and whatever anion and cation I get soon after disconnecting is called as a syntons. Okay. Now what are synthetic equivalents, students? Now they might not have existed like this, correct? When you're taking a reactant, do you take it like this? No. There actually, there can be some atom here. So here you can put, Cl, and here you can put one H, because H, here it is negative charge, so H will have, H will be in the form of H plus, correct? So you can add one H here, and Cl will be in the form of Cl minus here, because there is a plus charge. So you can add any atom for that matter, that is your choice. You can add bromine or iodine, but most preferably, usually what we see, there will be a chlorine and there will be elimination of HCl, correct? So let's draw, you only have to write the synthetic equivalent. So here we are adding a Cl, and here this you are adding the H. This is just your predicting what type of reactants might be there in synthesizing this particular product molecule. So I added a Cl here, I added a H here. This is called as a synthetic equivalence. That is, these are the syntons, but the original form in which the syntons might have existed is nothing but your synthetic equivalence. So what is the definition of synthetic equivalence? They are actual molecules which are precursors of the target molecule. Now these are actual molecules or reactant. We have arrived to the reactants now. So these are the actual molecule from which this target molecule was formed initially. So this is nothing but the synthetic equivalent. So how do you write this disconnection approach, students? First you will see where you can disconnect in such a way that always keep in your mind that the reverse reaction should always be feasible. If you can't disconnect it here, that is not a very feasible way. But here you can see that there is one H here, there is Cl here. Usually in the reaction, there will be elimination of HCl and this product might have formed. So that is one very feasible manner in which this reaction would have formed, correct? So disconnect in such a site that the reverse reaction will be feasible and workable. Then what you will get cations and anions that are nothing but your syntons. And then how that syntons actually existed in molecular form is the synthetic equivalent. Now here you can add some atom, and here also you added. Now see, just check, go in the reverse manner and check. Here if I have one H, here I have Cl. So I could have eliminated H from here, Cl from here, and got this, and finally got this product. So the reverse reaction is workable, correct? That is what the condition we had. So it is working. That's how we can actually write it in the reverse manner, and it is feasible. So that is what we wanted. So now I hope you have an idea of what this topic actually is. Now we'll take some more example. We've taken this. I'll name it as target molecule number one, because we'll be discussing a lot of target molecules in this particular topic. So I'll start numbering the target molecule. This is target molecule number one. So you can see like this, you have a target molecule. Now you see where you can disconnect it. Usually when you have oxygen, carbon bond and all, it is best to disconnect there. Okay, because here near the oxygen you can add one hydrogen, and near the carbon you can add one chlorine, or depends upon what you have added on this side. That time you can eliminate HCl, correct? So now here there is no syntons. Directly they have written the synthetic equivalent. If you had to write the syntons, how would you write? PHO minus, and here PH double bond O, C plus. Okay, and then that would be the syntons, and then you can write these two are the synthetic equivalents. Here they have written syntons. Let's see this example. Example number 2, that is synthesis of target molecule 2-phenyl ethanol. This is 2-phenyl ethanol. Now see where can you break here? Here there isn't any place. You cannot just break here and just add OH like that, correct? So see here you can phenyl, that ring you can break here, phenyl ring. So they have disconnected over here, students. You can draw one line here, you've disconnected here. So you have phenyl plus what is this other part. So now here, how, what are this, these are the two syntons, that are intermediates that are obtained. What are the synthetic equivalents? How would you get pH minus ring? What about this pH MgBr, the Grignard reagent? Huh? That time you can get pH, because you know that this part goes out as plus. So obviously you will get pH in the form of minus. This is all, you know, you are using all your organic chemistry knowledge and guessing what type of reactants would have been there in order to get this type of product. So if you want to get pH minus here, what would be best? You, if you take Grignard reagent, the phenyl ring will have a minus charge when it comes out, and this part will go out as plus, correct? You know that. So you will take the, you will write its synthetic equivalent like this. And what about this? For this ring, epoxide ring containing oxygen would be fine. Same way, third type of target molecule 3, that is 3-hydroxybutanol. Now see where and all you can disconnect. Here we have disconnected it. So we have got two parts here. This carbon has a plus charge, this carbon has a minus charge. Now how have they written? CH3CHO, that is one CHO, that is one. What have they done here? Because it had a minus charge, they added one CH3 here to write its synthetic equivalent. Here what did they do? They added one more CH3 here in order to write that. Next is what are reagent. A reagent is a chemical or a molecule which can give some commonly used syntons. Now syntons, you know, they are cations or anion. In order to get that syntons, what type of chemical or reagent? This is reagent is nothing but similar to that of synthetic equivalent only. So what type of reagent you're using in order to get these ions, cations and anions, that is called as a reagent. Okay. So if you want to get H minus somewhere, then you might have to use lithium aluminum hydride or sodium borohydride, or CH3 minus. We came across this example, correct, where we wanted CH3 minus. So you can use Grignard's reagent or CH3Li. Here you know that lithium will go out as Li plus, so you will get CH3 minus. Same way, if you want Br minus, then you can use N bromosuccinamide, where you can get bromine as Br minus. And if you want CH2 plus, then you can use Wittig reagent. So these are some of the common reagent. Depending upon what type of synton you want, you can use that type of reagent. Okay. Next, two more examples for you, two more target molecules. Here, first target molecule 5 is paracetamol. Now, see here, by now you will have an idea of where to disconnect, and where if you disconnect, you will get a feasible reaction. So, here, if I disconnect it, what will I get? What are the two syntons that I get? One is here, nitrogen will have minus charge, here the carbon will get plus charge, because here nitrogen is more electronegative compared to carbon. Next, these are the two syntons that you have got. So what are its synthetic equivalent, or you can say what are the reagents from which you get these two syntons? So here what you can add one hydrogen extra. So it will be NH2. So this is the synthetic equivalent for this synton. What about this? Can you add one chlorine here? Yes, because chlorine will go out as Cl minus, correct? So you will get, you are seeing what atom if you add, it will go out and you will get this carbon having a plus charge. So you have to always add a more electronegative atom here. Why? Because it has to take up two electrons of the bond and go out. Because so that this carbon will get a plus charge here. So one of the electronegative atoms you know most commonly used one is chlorine. So add chlorine here. What about here? Can you add chlorine here? Can you add NHCl? First of all, it's not even a proper combination, NHCl, correct? And second thing, if you add Cl, what will Cl do? It will pull electrons and go. So you will not get negative charge on nitrogen. So you want to add electropositive element here. Okay. So you are adding a hydrogen, because you know that hydrogen usually goes out as H plus. So nitrogen will definitely get a minus charge. So whenever you have a situation like this, most preferably add hydrogen, or when you have a positive charge, then you see you can add chlorine. Then by eliminating HCl, you can get these syntons and finally the product. Same way over here, target molecule 6, that is 2,4 dichlorophenoxyacetic acid. Now where do I break this here? See, this is the best place to break it here, because here there is an oxygen which will have a negative charge. If I add one H, I will get its synthetic equivalent. Same way here, this carbon here, this carbon has a plus charge, correct? So what should I add? I'll add chlorine. So I've got my syntons. These two are the syntons, and these are the reagents or the synthetic equivalent from which I get those syntons. So next is example of some syntons and what type of synthetic equivalents are required to get those syntons. Okay, so this chart is very important, students, because it will help you in order to write the retrosynthesis reaction. Because every time you might not remember, oh, what type of synthetic equivalent will I get in order to get these syntons. So if you remember this chart, usually it will help you in order to write your retrosynthesis reaction. So if you have R plus, usually remember, you know that a halogen is the best synthetic equivalent here, like Rx. Okay, because halogens usually take up the electrons and go, so R will be left with a plus charge. Same way here, if you take a ketonic compound, you will get this type of syntons where this carbon here will have a plus charge. Okay, and these are the different examples of different syntons that you will get, and the different synthetic equivalent that is required to make those syntons. So memorize that chart. Next is certain guidelines for disconnection. Now disconnection, students, you cannot do it wherever you want. You cannot disconnect it. You have to follow certain guideline when you're disconnecting the target molecule. So what is the first guideline is that the disconnection where the reverse reaction should be real and workable should be followed. That is, you have to do disconnection in such a way that when you're coming in the reverse order, when you're taking the synthetic equivalent and trying to make that target molecule, that reaction should be real and it should be workable. It should be easily happening. Okay, So here you can see they have given one example here. This is the target molecule that we are taking, and they have told that there are two possible ways in which we can disconnect this target molecule. One is this. If you break over here, this I have named it as A. If you disconnect over here, you will get these two syntons. So if I now forget about this, let's see path number one, that is disconnecting over here. You can see that I will get O minus and here carbon will get a plus charge. Now since I have O minus, this synton will have the synthetic equivalent OH, and here because I have a plus charge here, this will have a synthetic equivalent having chlorine, correct. What is a one more possible way? Now you can see here this molecule can have another possible route, correct, that is here. Now forget about A, C, B here. If I disconnect over here, I will get this part and this part. So this carbon will have a plus charge. Since oxygen is more electronegative, it will get the minus charge, correct. And then what are the possible synthetic equivalent? Here just add one hydrogen, here add OH, okay. So now tell me what are the different, these two routes are there. Which would you choose? Now you have a confusion which route to go about. Would I go with this disconnection or this disconnection? So you will go to refer the guideline number 1, which tells you that you should see that the disconnection is favored where the reverse reaction should be real and workable. Now here if you see route number 1 that we did is more real and workable than route number B. Than making this react with this reaction would be comparatively slower. But here you can see there will be immediate elimination of HCl and formation of this target molecule. So you can see that although there are two pathways, pathway number A that we followed, that is this one, was more real and workable. So we will go with this type of disconnection than compared to this. So this situation will come, you will come across in different molecule where there can be 4 or 5 different types of ways in which you can disconnect that molecule. But which one will you choose? Based upon the guideline, what will you choose? You will choose that pathway in which the reverse reaction is uh, uh, more feasible and real and workable. What is the second guideline is that if the compound contains two parts, if your compound that you're taking, the target molecule that you're taking contains two parts and which is joined by a heteroatom like nitrogen, sulfur, etc., you will disconnect next to the heteroatom. For that, they have shown one example, that is chlorobenzene. Now see here in this example, you can see your compound contains two parts, okay, and which is now joined by a heteroatom sulfur. So this is one example like this. So many examples will be there where your compound will have two different parts and joined by one heteroatom. So what is the guideline telling us? Once again we will read, if the compound contains two parts joined by a heteroatom, disconnect next to the heteroatom. So here what we are supposed to do, we are supposed to disconnect next to this heteroatom. That is what your guideline is telling. Otherwise you will have a confusion, should I disconnect over here or should I disconnect over here or should I disconnect over here. So what you do is you disconnect a bond that is next to the heteroatom. Here next to sulfur one bond is there between sulfur and carbon, so I will disconnect that. So what do you get? What type of synthetic equivalent do you get? Actually, you will get S minus and carbon with a plus charge. You can write the syntons if you want. I haven't shown it here. I have directly written the synthetic equivalent, that is SH, and here you can add one chlorine. So this is a thioether linkage that you are disconnecting. Let's see one more example based on this guideline. One more example of catabin is shown here. Now see, here you have a heteroatom that is nitrogen, so it's better for you to disconnect next to the heteroatom. If you disconnect, you can tell that next means I can disconnect over here also. But remember guideline number 1, if I disconnect over here, your reverse reaction will not be workable, okay, compared to disconnecting over here. So you will analyze that way, and it is best to disconnect over here. So I've disconnected here. So what do I get? RCH2 plus is one of the symptoms and NH minus, okay. So in order to get CH2 plus, what type of reagent will we add here? already studied, if you add a halogen it is best. So I am adding bromine, which will go out as Br minus, and you will end up getting RCH2 plus. And what about here? Because you want a minus charge on nitrogen, it's better to add one more hydrogen. So these are the two synthetic equivalents. So this is guideline number 2. This I have simply written. If this is your target molecule, say this is one more example. Here only we can understand this is your target molecule. How will you disconnect this? It's best to disconnect over here, next to the oxygen. Here oxygen carbon bond disconnection you can do. So what you will get here, you can add one OH, here also you can add one H. So there will be elimination of water and you will get this ester molecule. Okay, so that is another example that I've just shown for your reference over here. That is guideline number 2. Next is, what is guideline number 3? Next, the last guideline tells us that when we have alternate routes here, see now this is a target molecule 9 here, we have alternate routes here, they're telling us that avoid the route which has chemoselectivity problem. Okay, so you can see here, if I disconnect over here, I will follow route number A, and these are the two syntons that I get. Same way here, if I disconnect at B, these are the two syntons I get. If I disconnect at C, these are the two syntons I get. And if I disconnect at D, these are the two syntons I get. So there are 4 pathways here, A, B, C and D. I can disconnect at 4 different positions. But they are telling us that you should avoid routes where there will be chemoselectivity problem. Now what happens if I disconnect at A and B? You will get these two synthetic, these two types of syntons, correct? So both route A and B, they have chemoselectivity problem. Why is that? Because NH groups are there here. They also undergo alkylation when you are trying to alkylate this phenolic group. Okay, when you are trying to do alkylation for the phenolic groups that are present here, what happens? The NH group also undergoes alkylation. That will change the synthetic equivalent that we get, but we don't want that. So what is there here? We can prefer route C or route D. Okay, so among route C and route D, they're telling that C is a better option compared to D, because route C does not have any chemoselectivity problem here, because in route C we are alkylating the nitrogen itself, the NH group itself, and it prefers to be alkylated. So we are preferring this route C compared to A, B, C and D. So in this guideline, they're telling us that whenever there is alternate routes that are available, what will you do? You will prefer a route that has less chemoselectivity problem. Okay, because here it is very difficult to alkylate the phenolic group when you have a basic nitrogen atom, because that will undergo alkylation before alkylating the phenolic group, or along with the phenolic group, that itself will undergo alkylation. So you have to see which group, which route has less chemoselectivity problem. So these are 3 guidelines. In the example, they can ask you in exams that what are the 3 guidelines for disconnection. It's a very important question. So you will tell the 3 guidelines, along with that you will give one example each. Whatever example is given, you can give that example and explain it to them. So here I end this video. The coming videos will be on the same topic. So take care. Bye.